September 19, 1944. Dense morning fog blankets the rolling farmland near Arracourt, France. Through the mist rumbled German Panther tanks, each mounting the fearsome 75mm KWK 42 cannon capable of destroying American armor from 2,000 meters away. The numbers favored Germany overwhelmingly, 262 tanks and assault guns converging on fewer than 50 defending Sherman tanks. The technology favors Germany devastatingly. Panther frontal armor 80 millimeters thick, sloped at 55 degrees, virtually impenetrable to American 75mm guns, even at point-blank range. The confidence belongs to Germany, absolutely. Adolf Hitler himself has ordered 5th Panzer Army to crush General George Patton's 3rd Army. German commanders study the mathematics of destruction. Their Panthers penetrate Sherman armor from 2 kilometers. American Shermans struggle beyond 1,000 meters and typically cannot pierce Panther frontal glacis at any range. They outnumber the Americans 5-1 in the critical Panther-class tanks alone. Military logic demands a massacre. 11 days later, captured German records reveal a catastrophe. 86 tanks destroyed outright, 114 damaged or abandoned. Only 62 tanks remain operational from the original 262, a staggering 76% loss rate. Meanwhile, Combat Command A of the 4th Armored Division, the Americans who absorbed Germany's full fury, lost merely 25 tanks and 7 tank destroyers. Germany attacked with overwhelming numbers and superior technology to annihilate an outnumbered American force. Instead, German 5th Panzer Army shattered itself in what became America's largest tank-versus-tank battle in Western Europe until the Battle of the Bulge erupted 2 months later. How did American tankers in supposedly inferior Shermans achieve a 5-1 kill ratio against German Panthers while outnumbered? How did the technological underdogs transform disadvantage into dominance? To understand this shocking reversal, we must first examine who these German forces were and why they believed victory was inevitable. September 1944. Adolf Hitler faced strategic catastrophe. General George Patton's 3rd Army had shattered German defenses across France, advancing over 400 miles in 6 weeks, liberating entire regions with unprecedented speed, now threatening Germany's industrial Saar region and approaches to the Rhine River itself. Hitler's response demonstrated desperation masked as confidence. He ordered immediate counterattack, committing Germany's reconstituted 5th Panzer Army under one of the Wehrmacht's most capable commanders, General der Panzertruppe Otto von Manschufel, fresh from successful defensive operations on the Eastern Front where his tactical brilliance had earned legendary status. German strength returns documented formidable offensive power. 182 main battle tanks, 107 Panther Mark V, and 75 Panzer Mark IV models, supported by 80 self-propelled assault guns and tank destroyers. Total armored strength, 262 fighting vehicles concentrated in Army Group G's sector under General Johannes Blaskowitz. These weren't obsolete panzers scraped from training depots. The Panther Mark V represented Germany's finest medium tank, arguably the European theater's most lethal armored vehicle. Technical specifications proved intimidating. The long-barreled 75mm KWK 42 L70 cannon penetrated 130 millimeters of armor at 1,000 meters. Its frontal glacis, 80 millimeters thick, sloped at 55 degrees, created effective protection exceeding 140 millimeters, virtually impervious to American Sherman's standard 75mm gun at any combat range. German intelligence painted encouraging pictures. Normandy experience demonstrated Panther dominance in open terrain. Engagements against Shermans. Wehrmacht reconnaissance identified the defending force. Combat Command A, 4th Armored Division, estimated 45 to 50 tanks spread across the Arracourt sector. The arithmetic favored Germany overwhelmingly, 5-to-1 advantage in Panther-class vehicles alone, even greater overall numerical superiority. Strategic objectives aligned logically. Recapture Lunéville. Eliminate American bridgehead over the Moselle River at Doulourdes. Close the 40-kilometer gap threatening separation between German 1st and 19th Armies. Halt Patton's advance permanently, stabilizing Lorraine's entire defensive line before winter. General von Manschufel received explicit orders from Army Group G headquarters. Attack with concentrated force, annihilate isolated American armored elements, restore defensive integrity. With superior numbers, technologically superior tanks, and tactical surprise, German commanders anticipated rapid success. Captured documents later revealed expectations of quick defeat for defending American forces. What German intelligence failed to detect, Americans weren't merely defending. They were preparing an ambush based on lessons learned, superior training, and tactical innovations German commanders couldn't imagine. Americans defending Arracourt understood their predicament perfectly. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and dangerously exposed. Combat Command A, 4th Armored Division, occupied a precarious salient, a bulge protruding into German-held territory, vulnerable to attack from 3 directions simultaneously. Division records documented CCA's stretched defensive posture. Skeleton forces of armored infantry and combat engineers manning extended outpost lines across rolling Lorraine farmland, supported by approximately 45 to 50 Sherman medium tanks, M10 tank destroyers, and towed artillery batteries. The numerical disparity was sobering. Official 4th Armored Division strength returns showed total complement of merely 163 tanks supporting 15,000 troops, spread across the entire divisional sector. German 5th Panzer Army was concentrating 262 armored fighting vehicles against a fraction of that American strength. Equipment disadvantages compounded numerical inferiority. American tankers knew their M4 Shermans were technologically outmatched. Intelligence assessments confirmed what Normandy combat taught brutally. Aberdeen Proving Ground tests documented that Sherman's 75mm M3 gun penetrated only 68 millimeters of armor at 500 meters, insufficient against Panther's frontal glacis even at point-blank range. Conversely, German Panther's 75mm KWK 42 cannon penetrated 130 millimeters at 1,000 meters, engaging effectively beyond 2,000 meters. This wasn't competitive engagement. This was technological mismatch favoring Germany overwhelmingly. 4th Armored Division had enjoyed remarkable fortune since Normandy breakout in late July. Racing across France as General Patton's spearhead, they'd covered over 400 miles in 6 weeks, bypassing strongpoints, ambushing retreating columns, liberating territory at unprecedented speed. However, that headlong advance involved limited tank-versus-tank combat. Division tankers possessed minimal experience engaging concentrated German armor formations, precisely what intelligence now reported approaching. September 22nd brought additional complications. General Patton received devastating operational restrictions. Supreme Allied Commander Eisenhower's headquarters ordered fuel supply reductions, effectively forcing Third Army onto defensive posture exactly as German counteroffensive intensified. The tactical situation deteriorated comprehensively. Outnumbered 5-to-1, outgunned by superior German Panthers, occupying exposed salient, fuel-restricted, prohibited from offensive maneuver. Yet Combat Command A possessed critical advantages German. Intelligence failed to detect advantages that would transform apparent weakness into devastating strength. While German commanders tallied tanks and calculated numerical superiority, American commanders assessed advantages invisible to Wehrmacht intelligence, advantages that would prove decisive. First advantage: leadership excellence and professional training. 4th Armored Division represented no hastily assembled formation. Under Major General John Sherman, would nicknamed Tiger Jack and praised as America's Rommel by British military theorist Basil Liddell Hart, the division had trained intensively for 24 months before entering combat. This was professional armored warfare embodied. Crews understanding modern mechanized operations through exhaustive preparation. Combat Command A answered to Colonel Bruce Clifford Clark, tactical genius specializing in defensive operations, honed at Fort Benning's Armor School. Clark's key subordinate commanded 37th Tank Battalion. Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Williams Abrams, future Army Chief of Staff and namesake of America's M1 Abrams main battle tank. These weren't novice crews fumbling with unfamiliar equipment. Army training doctrine emphasized individual initiative, constant communication, integrated combined arms coordination. American tankers trained alongside artillery batteries, infantry companies, tank destroyer battalions, creating seamless operational teams. Conversely, German Panzer Brigades 111 and 113, hastily organized in late summer 1944, possessed minimal battle experience, insufficient training time, and critically lacked integrated reconnaissance units or organic artillery support, fundamental weaknesses in hastily formed units. Second advantage: intelligence superiority and air dominance. German commanders operated blindly regarding one critical American capability: ultra-intelligence. Declassified documents reveal American headquarters possessed decrypted German communications, exposing enemy plans, unit strengths, operational objectives 24 to 48 hours advance. Third Army Intelligence Staff knew German counteroffensive was coming, identified attacking units, understood strategic intentions completely. Additionally, Americans controlled something Germans desperately lacked: absolute air superiority. 19th Tactical Air Command, commanded by Brigadier General Otto Paul Wayland, coordinated intimately with 3rd Army ground operations. When weather cleared, Republic P-47 Thunderbolts would devastate German armor with 850 caliber machine guns, rockets, 500-pound bombs, overwhelming firepower German forces couldn't counter. Third advantage: superior tactical doctrine. While German panzer brigades planned exploiting tank superior range and armor through frontal assaults, American doctrine emphasized contrasting principles. Concealed defensive positions allowing enemy approach, command of terrain elevations controlling observation and fields of fire, aggressive fire and maneuver tactics exploiting enemy exposure, seamless artillery integration coordinating indirect fires with direct tank engagement, deliberate, close-range combat negating Panther range advantages through tactical positioning. Americans wouldn't engage German Panthers at 2,000 meters where German guns dominated. They'd ambush at 200 meters where Sherman's 75mm guns penetrated Panther side armor devastatingly. Post-battle analysis by Army Armor School documented: 37th Tank Battalion maximized characteristics of defense: maneuver flexibility, disruption, mass and concentration, preparation, and security. German forces approached with overwhelming numerical superiority. They advanced into meticulously prepared killing zones. September 18, 1944, 1,400 hours. Germany's offensive commenced, not at Arracourt, but 10 kilometers southward at Lunéville. 111th Panzer Brigade crashed into 4th Armored Division's Reserve Command, and 2nd Mechanized Cavalry Group defending the town's approaches. Division after action reports document fierce engagement. Under strength, American defenders, hastily reinforced by elements from 4th and 6th Armored Divisions, repulsed German assault decisively. Final tally: 24 German armored vehicles destroyed, burning wrecks littering Lunéville's outskirts. Initially, American commanders, Major General Wood commanding 4th Armored, Major General Mantonetti commanding 12th Corps, assessed this as localized counterattack. However, throughout September 18th into 19th pre-dawn hours, intelligence reports accumulated ominously. Increased German radio traffic, ultra intercepts decoding major formation movements, reconnaissance patrols reporting heavy vehicle concentrations. Intelligence officers confirmed Germany was launching major offensive operations. Dawn September 19th. Dense fog blanketed Lorraine's rolling agricultural terrain surrounding Arracourt, visibility reduced below 100 meters. German commanders interpreted fog as providential advantage. Concealment shielded their massive armored columns from American observation posts and, critically, grounded American fighter bombers whose devastating effectiveness Germans feared intensely. Without air support, Americans appeared vulnerable. Fog, however, disadvantaged both combatants equally. German Panzer Brigades 111 and 113 possessed crippling organizational weakness, minimal reconnaissance capability. Captured Wehrmacht organizational tables documented each brigade possessed only single armored reconnaissance company, totally insufficient for offensive operations requiring advanced intelligence. German formations advanced blindly toward American positions completely obscured by morning fog, tactical suicide against prepared defenders. Conversely, Combat Command A exploited fog masterfully. Colonel Clark implemented deliberate defensive architecture. Forward outpost lines manned by armored infantry companies and combat engineer platoons established tripwire detection. Concealed, main defensive positions occupied commanding terrain elevations. Shermans, M10 tank destroyers, towed anti-tank guns positioned with excellent fields of fire. M7 Priest 105mm self-propelled howitzers prepared direct fire missions. Artillery forward observers infiltrated optimal observation points despite limited visibility. Americans possessed decisive advantage, foreknowledge. Ultra-intelligence revealed German intentions, attacking units, assault timing. American forces simply waited. 0800 hours, September 19th. Company-sized elements from 113th Panzer Brigade penetrated CCA's eastern and southern outpost lines. Through fog emerged German Panthers, their powerful Maybach engines rumbling, commanders scanning frantically through limited visibility, unknowingly advancing into meticulously prepared kill zones. American defenders tensed, fingers on triggers, awaiting fire commands. Germany's armored might was walking into devastatingly effective ambush, tactical masterpiece that would revolutionize defensive armor doctrine. September 19th, 0800 hours. First contact German Panthers and Panzer IVs from 113th Panzer Brigade advanced through dense fog toward Arracourt, commanders anticipating overwhelming American positions through superior firepower and armor protection. Instead, they drove directly into meticulously prepared kill zones. 2 American tank destroyer platoons and medium tank company engaged German armor in running firefight extending toward CCA's headquarters complex. Combat devolved into chaos, visibility barely 100 meters, armored vehicles emerging suddenly from fog banks, muzzle flashes illuminating swirling mist, commanders shouting targeting instructions through radio static. Then, German commanders committed fatal tactical error. Advancing without adequate reconnaissance, German tank formations assumed they were penetrating weak. Defensive screening line. After action reports documented. Poor tactical deployment exposed German tanks' weaker side armor to Shermans, which flanked and knocked out 11 panzers using fog as concealment. Americans exploited fog exactly as planned. Sherman tanks maneuvered aggressively toward flanking positions, while Germans fixated on visible American units engaging frontally. At close range, 200 to 300 meters, even Sherman's 75mm gun penetrated Panther 40mm side armor devastatingly. German tanks erupted in flames, black smoke adding concealment to morning fog. When German forces threatened overrunning CCA headquarters, M7 Priest self-propelled 105mm howitzers engaged panzers with direct fire at point-blank range. Germans had penetrated deeply, but now found themselves surrounded, isolated, systematically destroyed. Day's end tally: 43 German tanks destroyed, most factory-fresh Panthers. American losses: 5 M4 Shermans, 3 tank destroyers. Personnel casualties: 6 killed, 13 wounded. General Patton arrived from 3rd Army Headquarters at Attain. Conferring with General Wood, Patton agreed CCA should resume planned offensive toward Saragemines next morning. German threat appeared decisively spent. September 20th through 21st, renewed assault and air dominance Germans weren't finished. September 20th brought renewed attacks. Panthers from 111th Panzer Brigade and 11th Panzer Division elements striking toward CCA headquarters. Several American support units became pinned down, temporarily trapped. Captain William Spencer, Company A, 37th Tank Battalion, displayed exceptional leadership, earning Distinguished Service Cross. Encountering assembly area containing 15 to 20 Panther Mark versus, Spencer directed Company B's devastating maneuver. Company B, commanded by Captain Jimmy Leach, executed Spencer's tactical direction brilliantly. Charged directly through Panzer concentration, firing continuously, wheeled around, attacked through again. Result: multiple Panthers destroyed. Spencer lost 3 tanks, including his own, but personally led 8 crew survivors back through German-held territory on foot. September 21st. Weather clears. Disaster descends. Morning brought clear skies and catastrophe for German forces. Republic P, 47 Thunderbolts from 405th Fighter Group, 84th Fighter Wing, 19th Tactical Air Command commenced relentless attacks on German ground formations. 4th Armored Division's close air support coordination, perfected since Normandy, proved devastatingly effective. American tankers radioed air strike requests. P-47s arrived within 3 minutes, delivering 500-pound bombs, high-velocity rockets, 8 50-caliber machine gun strafing runs. German columns caught exposed were systematically shredded. Over subsequent days, fighter bombers destroyed 73 German tanks. Combined arms warfare perfected. American tanks maneuvering, artillery hammering, aircraft strafing. Germans trapped in killing ground of American creation. Germany's offensive intended to crush Patton's forces instead crushed itself against American defensive mastery. Captured German records documented comprehensive catastrophe. By September 21st, merely 3 days into offensive operations, 111th and 113th Panzer Brigades retained only 54 tanks from 180 they'd begun with. Single days fighting near Moncourt and Lay produced devastating casualties. 16 additional tanks destroyed, 257 soldiers killed, 80 captured. Prisoner interrogation reports and captured German documents revealed profound shock and confusion permeating German command. Panthers supposed to dominate battlefields were being systematically ambushed, flanked, destroyed by supposedly inferior American Shermans. German commanders complained bitterly, advancing blindly without adequate reconnaissance, possessing no intelligence regarding American defensive positions until too late, often fatally late. Fog initially concealing German advance transformed into tactical liability. Tank commanders couldn't coordinate movements between units, couldn't provide mutual support, couldn't exploit Panther's superior range advantages. Each attack devolved into isolated engagements where American tankers, fighting terrain of their choosing, employing superior crew coordination, executing rehearsed combined arms tactics, systematically dismantled German formations. Whether clearing September 21st brought nightmare scenario, Republic P-47 Thunderbolts dominated cloudless skies. Without effective Luftwaffe air cover, German tanks became defenseless targets for American fighter bombers. Entire platoons caught exposed on roads were annihilated. Airstrike assessment reports documented 73 German tanks destroyed by aircraft alone, devastating losses supplementing ground combat casualties. By September 24th through 25th, 5th Panzer Army's offensive capability was completely exhausted. Official Wehrmacht strength returns showed merely 25 operational tanks remaining from original 262, staggering 90% attrition rate accomplished in 1 week's combat. German commanders attempted continuing attacks through September 29th, but these represented feeble gestures by thoroughly broken force. September 26th, 4th Armored Division shifted entirely defensive posture, consolidating positions. CCA withdrew 5 miles, establishing more defensible lines. CCB link flanks. Germans couldn't exploit even this withdrawal. Possessing only 25 functional tanks, facing clear skies enabling relentless air attacks, 5th Panzer Army suspended offensive operations entirely, commencing retreat toward German frontier. Adolf Hitler's rage was documented in official directives. He relieved General Johannes Blaskowitz, Army Group G commander, holding him personally responsible for operational failure. General Hermann Bulk assumed command of broken formations. Germany's anticipated quick defeat of American forces became instead catastrophic German collapse. Yet, immediate tactical victory represented merely beginning of Arracourt's enduring historical significance. Battle of Arracourt transformed strategic calculations, though consequences weren't immediately apparent. Territorially, battle appeared stalemate. Germans failed recapturing Lunéville, failed eliminating American Moselle River bridgehead, yet forced Third Army adopting defensive posture. September 22nd, during peak fighting, General Patton received orders restricting fuel supplies, preventing resumption of eastward offensive operations. This apparent stalemate masked crucial American strategic victory. German armored reserves, potentially reinforcing other critical sectors, were instead destroyed at Arracourt. Army Group G had committed its finest remaining armored formations, 111th and 113th Panzer Brigades, 11th Panzer Division elements, losing them catastrophically. These formations were effectively destroyed as combat-capable units. German armored strength proved irreplaceable. Late 1944 Germany couldn't reconstitute losses this magnitude, industrial capacity strained, fuel critically scarce, trained crews unavailable. Conversely, American tank losses, 48 M4 Shermans for entire 4th Armored Division throughout September, were replaced within days from massive American production infrastructure delivering thousands monthly. For field, Marshal Bernard Montgomery's 21st Army Group attacking northern sectors, Arracourt represented strategic windfall. German operational reserves, potentially reinforcing against Montgomery's operations, were instead committed, then destroyed at Arracourt. Third Army functioned as military historians term fixing force, engaging enemy units, preventing redeployment elsewhere, enabling Allied operations across broader front. Morale impact proved equally significant. Third Army having raced across France seemingly unstoppable, now demonstrated equal defensive mastery. American tankers gained confidence defeating German Panthers despite technological disadvantages. Panther invincibility, myth, psychological advantage Germans possessed. Since Normandy shattered completely. For Germans, Arracourt represented psychological catastrophe. Their finest tanks, possessing every theoretical advantage, were decisively defeated by supposedly inferior American Shermans. German tank commanders' confidence eroded fundamentally. The Panzer Arm, Wehrmacht's elite shock force, proved brittle-facing well-trained, expertly led opponents executing defensive operations on favorable terrain. October 1944, 4th Armored Division withdrew for rest after 87 consecutive combat days, extraordinary operational tempo since Normandy breakout late July. Returning November, Division utilized Arracourt as launching point for 3rd Army's winter offensive operations. Germany's counteroffensive intended restoring defensive lines instead created conditions enabling their collapse. Arracourt's ultimate significance, however, would only emerge through time, remaining studied by military professionals today as definitive case study in defensive armored warfare excellence. Battle of Arracourt remained largely forgotten by American public. General Patton's memoir doesn't even mention it, yet military professionals immediately recognize profound significance. Tactical Revolution, through professional education, United States Army Armor School at Fort Knox designated Arracourt required study material. Battle, where American tanks, supposedly inferior to German Panthers, achieved 5-to-1 kill ratio through superior tactics validated fundamental principles remaining relevant today. Official Army analysis documented. Following World War II, 4th Armored Division's actions around Arracourt became textbook example of successful mobile defense. Characteristics producing success: maneuver, flexibility, disruption, mass and concentration, preparation and security, transformed into formal doctrine taught generations of armor officers. Sherman tank design philosophy vindication. Arracourt became pivotal evidence in debates over tank design philosophy. German Panthers possessed superior armor and firepower, but proved mechanically unreliable, difficult repairing, consumed fuel. American air interdiction made critically scarce. Of 114 German tanks damaged or broken down at Arracourt, many never reached battle. Mechanical failures during approach marches eliminated them. Sherman tanks, conversely, demonstrated reliability, ease of repair, transportability on American logistics networks. When Shermans were lost, replacement occurred within days. When Panthers were lost, they remained lost. German industrial capacity couldn't regenerate losses. Historian Stephen Zaloga's detailed research demonstrates. Battle outcome was decided far more by quality and training of tank crews involved than by technical advantages or disadvantages of Sherman and Panther tanks themselves. Combined arms warfare validation. Arracourt proved modern warfare constitutes integrated system, not collection of individual weapons. American success derived from seamless integration. Tanks coordinating with artillery, infantry tank destroyers, and critically air power. Coordination between 4th Armored Division and 19th Tactical Air Command became model studied by every NATO army throughout Cold War era. Battle of the Bulge Connection, when Germans launched Ardennes offensive December 1944, American armored units didn't panic. 4th Armored Division, Creighton Abrams 37th Tank Battalion leading, raced 150 miles in 19 hours relieving Bastogne. Confidence and tactical lessons from Arracourt directly contributed to this legendary achievement. Enduring modern relevance, contemporary United States Army still teaches Arracourt at Maneuver Captain's Career Course. Lessons remain timeless. Technological superiority doesn't guarantee victory. Well-trained crews fighting favorable terrain defeat numerically superior forces. Combined arms integration multiplies combat power. Defensive operations require different skills than offensive operations, but they're equally important. Naval Postgraduate School, Army War College, military academies worldwide analyze Arracourt as definitive case study in defensive mobile warfare. Battle Hitler intended crushing Patton instead created tactical template helping win the war, still shaping how modern armored forces fight today. September 1944. Fog-shrouded morning, Lorraine, France. German Panther tanks outnumber American Shermans 5-1. Germans possess superior technology, tactical surprise, Adolf Hitler's personal orders annihilating General Patton's forces. 11 days later, German 5th Panzer Army lies shattered. Of 262 German tanks and assault guns, over 200 destroyed or damaged. American Combat Command, a unit bearing German onslaught's brunt, loses merely 25 tanks. How? Training. 4th Armored Division under Major General John Sherman would Combat Command A under Colonel Bruce Clifford Clark represented professional armored forces understanding modern mechanized warfare. Crews trained together for years, emphasizing initiative communication, combined arms coordination. Leadership from Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Williams, Abrams commanding 37th Tank Battalion, to Captain William Spencer, earning Distinguished Service Cross for combat heroism. American leaders at every echelon made quick, decisive decisions exploiting German mistakes ruthlessly. Tactics. While German commanders relied on Panther's technical superiority for frontal assaults, Americans employed concealed defensive positions, terrain mastery, fire and maneuver tactics negating German advantages, creating devastating kill zones. Combined arms integration. American success derived from seamless coordination between tanks, artillery, infantry tank destroyers, and once weather cleared, devastating air support from Republic P-47 Thunderbolts. Battle of Arracourt proves timeless lesson. Wars aren't won by technology alone. They're won by superbly trained forces, brilliant leadership, superior tactics, integrated combat systems. Want learning more about America's overlooked World War II victories? Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell. Next week, we're diving into how American engineers accomplished the impossible, building secret fuel pipeline under the English Channel German generals never saw coming. Drop a comment. What surprised you most about Battle of Arracourt? Did you know American Shermans could defeat German Panthers when fighting smart? Military history proves definitively never underestimate American ingenuity, training, and courage, even when facing overwhelming odds.